figured I would do a little chat video about my microblading experience. I got my coffee here, just nothing exciting, just a Keurig coffee with a little cream and sugar-free almond in it. And yeah, I figured we could chat about my microblading experience. I know a lot of people asked me about it or asked me to do a video about it right after I got it done. But I'm gonna be very honest with you, after you get your eyebrows microbladed, they literally look like shit. I would have not wanted to come on camera and do a video about it. I really wanted to wait until I had my second appointment and everything was completely healed. So let me just give you, I have some notes here that I kind of want to keep on track with because I don't want to like go off on a tangent. Where is it? Okay. And then I'm in a Facebook group with, this is so funny. I don't know if any of you were like part of the live journal community back in the day, but I'm part of this Facebook group and it's a bunch of girls from live journal. And so I posted, I was like, hey, do you guys have any questions on microblading? Some of them asked me questions. So if I don't answer them in the video, then I'll answer those at the end. So yeah, live journal. Oh my God. I loved live journal. I wish it were still a thing, to be honest. Okay. So how I first discovered microblading. I first discovered microblading because I want to say, I know I discovered it on Instagram, and I want to say that Laz Curtis, I know it was an Australian beauty guru, got her eyebrows microbladed. Don't quote me if it is her, but it was somebody from Australia. So in Australia, they call it feather stroking. And this was a couple of years ago. I want to say this was probably 2.5 years ago that I discovered it. So of course they had hashtag feather stroking. So I start looking at all these pictures and I'm like, oh my God, this is so awesome. Like I really want to get this done. So of course I start looking in my area. There was nothing. And then I started looking around the United States and there was nothing. And I think probably it was because I was searching feather stroking. Like I'm sure microblading existed around here 2 years ago, but I was like obviously searching for the wrong thing. After that, I just kind of forgot about it. I was like, okay, well, this obviously is like an up and coming Australian beauty thing. It'll eventually make its way to the US. So fast forward, I moved to Seattle October of 2015, and then this past year I obviously you're in a big city, you have access to more kind of like beauty trends, and I totally had forgotten about it. I think I was on Yelp this fall sometime, and November, I know it was November, and I somehow saw an ad or randomly saw a Yelp page for microblading. And I was like, oh my God, this is totally what I saw a few years ago on Instagram. So I started looking into it. I need a little sip. And I just started looking at reviews on Yelp, and then I would go to their actual websites. And so basically how I picked a person to do my eyebrows is I looked at a bunch of places on Yelp, like probably, I'm like a psycho, so probably I looked at like every single place on Yelp that does microblading. And then I decided on 2 different girls. So basically I decided on reviews, like stellar, awesome reviews, like I would come back here, that kind of thing. And then I also decided on before and after pictures, because I feel like before and after pictures are very telling, obviously. And even when I met my girl, she would tell me, she's like, oh my gosh, like people learn microblading and then they start tattooing people's eyebrows, and then they come to me and, microblading, and then they come to me and they're like getting their eyebrows, there's a fuzzy, they're getting their eyebrows redone by her because the person basically did a botch microblading job. So after I looked at all the before and after pictures, I narrowed it down to 2 girls, and I ended up going to Jess at Highbrow Seattle because she could get me in quicker. I'm like one of those instant gratification people. Like if I decide I want something done, I want to be able to get it done like tomorrow at 9 a.m. was beginning of November. The other girl didn't have any openings for me until January. So I'm like, screw this. I am going to Highbrow Seattle. So I went to Highbrow Seattle. The girl that owns it is so awesome. She's so sweet. And I mean, her pricing is very reasonable. I feel like she could definitely charge more. For her pricing, it was $400, and the $400 includes the initial appointment, which is about 3 hours. And then it also includes your touch-up, which obviously I tipped her at the touch-up because she spent like another hour and a half or 2 hours on me. First appointment, you go in and they put a tape measure on your forehead, and they kind of can map out where your arch should be and like how long your tail should be and things like that. And then they kind of, you know, they ask you your goals. It would be helpful if you took a picture in to show them kind of what you wanted. I didn't do that, but I was just like, you know what? Like, I really want to have bold brows. Like, I have never been one, like, I feel like I'm good at doing my makeup, but I've never been really good at doing my eyebrows. You know, you see people on Instagram who use the concealer and like chisel out their brows and put so much brow product on that, I mean, I never ever taught myself that, first of all, because I don't think it looks good, and second of all, I would be in the hospital at work and people would be like, hi, this is your drag queen nurse Megan today. But I did want, obviously, thicker brows. Thick brows, thin patience. That's my motto. So she like mapped out my brows. So they map them out, and then they kind of create an outline where they're going to put the strokes. And so she did that, and I was like, perfect, let's go for it. The actual microblading is basically a semi-permanent tattooing that they take this little kind of chisel scalpel and they create just strokes in like around your eyebrows, and they look like real hair. It's amazing. So they take the scalpel, they dip it in whatever color that you decide, and then they kind of chisel in and deposit the pigment. So after she mapped my brows out, then we started mixing colors. She mixed colors on my forehead so I could see it in comparison to my eyebrow color. I wanted to keep a similar eyebrow color that I already have. I didn't want to like go any darker or anything. So basically, you can see my natural brow color is like this ashy, kind of taupey, either dark blonde or light brown color. I don't have anything on my brows today because I'm gonna fill them in at the end so you guys can see what they look like filled in. She mixed the colors, I chose a color, and she mixed it up. She put numbing cream on my eyebrows. Honestly, the quote-unquote pain is not bad at all. When she first started, it was a 1 out of 10. Like, I couldn't feel anything. The weird thing is when they use this little, like, I refer to it as a scalpel. When they use this little scalpel tool, you can hear like the kind of like the cutting of the skin. It's like that like scraping noise, and that was kind of what really bothered me. It was, I mean, it's kind of gross sounding, you know? And then, you know, as she went on, I could feel the numbing cream wearing off. It wasn't unbearable or anything, but I was just like, hey, can you put a little more numbing cream on my eyebrows? And she did. Actually, I felt like the second appointment that I had, it hurt more, and I don't know if it was because I knew what to expect or if it was because that like chiseling noise just like drove me crazy. I don't know what it was. It was never anything unbearable. I mean, it's not like you need to take an ibuprofen before you go or anything, nothing like that. The aftercare is very low maintenance. Basically what you do, she told me to get just the little square cotton pads and get some normal saline, and when my eyebrows, because your eyebrows will start scabbing. So when your eyebrows start scabbing, you take this little cotton pad and you just kind of like dab it, because you do not want to pick your scabs off. So yeah, you take that. So I'm like, I just lost my train of thought. So you take that and you just dab it, and then you dab it dry. And then after that, she gave me some aftercare tattoo cream that I used, and I also used Aquaphor. I would just like slather it on. So the scariest part in the whole entire 14 days is when your eyebrows literally fall off. And I will insert a picture so you know what I'm talking about here. Jess told me that this would happen, and when it happened to me, I still was very skeptical. I started Googling, and then I texted her a picture, and I'm like, oh my God, like my eyebrows fell off. So if you are just getting your eyebrows microbladed because you want some darker color in it, or you want to like lengthen your tail, then I don't think you'll sit there and be like, oh my God, my eyebrows fell off. But for me, I had very thin brows before she microbladed me, so I had a lot of thickness added above my eyebrow, and that like literally fell off. So what happens is there is that cut with the pigment deposited in it, and then our skin obviously like scabs and grows over that. Well, there is probably a good 4 days where that layer of skin that grew on top of this hasn't fallen off yet. So that's where you get this phase where it's like, where did my eyebrows go? I just spent $400 and my eyebrows are gone. Trust me, they come back. I texted Jess and I sent her a picture, and she's like, Megan, she's like, this is totally normal. She's like, you will get what they call it like a color boost in a couple of days. And so once that layer of skin shed off, then it was like, okay, my eyebrows are back. But it was hard because during that period of time, it was within that 14 days. So I went to work. I was so self-conscious because I had like my eyebrows, and then I had like, it just like, it didn't look good. I think people probably really didn't notice, but for me, I noticed. It was also the same thing after I got my eyebrows done. They were so dark, and trust me when I say that they will lighten up. They lighten up over 50%. But when your eyebrows are scabbing and the pigment has just been deposited, they are so freaking dark. I went to work and I remember being so self-conscious that, and I'm like a very confident person, but I was so self-conscious of my eyebrows that I was like avoiding making eye contact with people because I didn't want them to be staring at my eyebrows. And I would tell people like, yeah, I just got my eyebrows microbladed, and they're like, Megan, like we can tell, but it's not as noticeable to them as it is to you. Like to me, it was like I took a Sharpie and like filled in my brows. That's how dark it looked to me, but to the rest of the world, it was no big deal. Let's see, they will also itch, which is kind of annoying. Don't itch them. And okay, so your second appointment, mine ended up being about 2 hours. Your second appointment is when you go back, and make sure you go back to your second appointment or else your microblading experience will not look complete. Basically, your second appointment is when you go back and any like little sparse spots, any places that didn't take the pigment as well as it should have, they go in and they fill that in. It's also a time where if you want them to add in, let's say you want your brows to be a little bit darker, they can go in and they can add some darker pigment. It's basically, this appointment is basically to perfect your eyebrows, and just spent about 2 hours on me. She's so awesome. I have one little spot. Let me look in my little mirror. I have one spot, it's right here, that I'm going to get filled in again, but she told me, she's like, Megan, like if you have a spot on your brows that you feel like needs to be filled in a little bit more, she's like, just text me and I'll come in and I won't even charge you. So she's like so awesome. I love her. So after this appointment, the healing stages are not as dramatic. You don't go through the stage where you feel like you look like a drag queen. It's way more subtle. The aftercare I feel like the aftercare is not as long. I did not scab as much, and it has been a month, a little over a month now since I had my second appointment. So this is what I'm working with. Let me back up just a little bit. All right, so I'm going to fill in my eyebrows so you can kind of see what they look like when I have them filled in. And I do not fill them in on, oh my gosh, I literally thought I had lipstick on my teeth the entire time I was talking in this video, which has been 20 minutes now. So I do not fill them in on a daily basis. If I'm running errands and just lounging, I don't put any brow product on my eyebrows because I don't feel like I need to. But if I am going out, like out for dinner, or just basically want to emphasize my brows more, that's when I fill them in. And the awesome thing about having your eyebrows microbladed is you already have the shape, so filling them in is like so quick. It's amazing. To fill them in, I either use the Anastasia Dip Brow, or today I'm using the Anastasia Brow Definer. I've talked about this in my videos before and I love it. This is my eyebrows filled in, as you can see the thickness that I have. And you know what, I'll tell you what color I use. If anybody's wondering what color I use in the Anastasia Dip Brow, it's medium brown. Whole microblading, since it's semi-permanent, it lasts 1 to 2 years until you have to get it touched up again. You have oily skin, it's a little bit more of an issue. You might have to get it done more frequently because oily skin the pigment doesn't hold as well as it should. I have very just normal skin, so that won't be an issue for me, but I work with a girl who got her eyebrows microbladed about a year ago, and she has like super, super oily skin, and like her brows have faded. So let me read the questions that I got from this Facebook group in. Lindsay said, did the numbing help prior? Yes, definitely. And like I said, if you are feeling uncomfortable or any sort of discomfort, just be like, hey, can you put some more numbing cream on? Because they will. How long does it last, and what happens if you want a different eyebrow shape? It lasts 1 to 2 years, and you know what? I don't know about the different eyebrow shape thing. I would assume that you would have to let it completely fade and then get them redone. And obviously, I just told you about my friend who had really oily skin. Hers totally faded. Like, it doesn't even look like she had anything done. So yeah, I mean, I think that you would probably have to wait like the 1.5 years, but I'm pretty sure you would definitely be able to get a different shape. Elizabeth, I don't think I have any questions besides is it worth it? And I'm feeling like that's a yes. Yes, it's definitely worth it. It is such a time saver. I was not a person who spent a lot of time on my eyebrows anyways, but yeah, it's totally worth it. I love it. Megan, I don't have any questions. I just need to pull the trigger, and she did get her eyebrows microbladed and it looks really good. She goes, any initial photos you can show us? I will insert some pictures here. I think that's it. If you have any questions, put them below. I would love to answer them. Let me know if you've gotten your eyebrows microbladed, and I will see you guys in my next video.